Hopefully we move someone without touching them.
I think people need to do things that scare the shit out of them.
That's what it's all about.
Becoming Player One is a reservoir of stories and experience. It's a promise to show up for ourselves so that we can show up for others.
Because my brain doesn't stop. That's one of the things. Like my monkey brain in the middle of the night, I'm like, please stop. Think of
The monkey mind?
Yeah, my monkey.
I first heard of that phrase from the book The One Thing by Gary Keller. Do you know that?
I haven't gotten that book.
It's so good.
I wanna get into that book, but I haven't. But
Basically, the one line from it that I'll never forget is the one thing. What's the one thing that I can do right now such that... Fuck, I don't remember the rest. It's like such that everything else will fall into line or something. I have to revisit the book.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know where the book is. It was gifted to me by one of my real estate mentors, and it changed my life. But yeah, it talked about the monkey mind and the fallacy of multitasking and how it's so untrue. One thing at a time.
Yes, I know.
Focus.
The multitasking is
It doesn't work.
It's a lie.
But I was like raised to think it wasn't, and that I should put it on my resume. So that's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, because people buy into
Productivity.
fallacies. Yeah, we got into this productivity phase, giving people coffee breaks so they can work a lot harder, but maybe not smarter.
Right, longer hours.
Longer hours, and they're gonna be awake all the day.
Therefore, they'll have no energy. Now we're getting into like the conspiracy theory of the 9 to 5. We haven't even begun.
Oh my god.
All right, let me just say
Okay, go ahead.
thank you for being here. I'll just talk to the audience real quick, which I don't want to make a habit of while I'm actually interviewing people, but I feel like it's
Be
appropriate
nice.
right now.
Be nice.
Thank you all for tuning in to not the first, but one of the first episodes of Becoming Player One. This is a podcast that I'm going to be starting, interviewing local leaders, entrepreneurs, artists. If you've been following me, you know that I have a business called Owl Glow Productions, and that for the first year of business, I was kind of interviewing local businesses and doing video marketing for them. So I'm kind of taking that approach, turning it into this podcast, and my first guest is none other than one of my oldest friends, Wilson Hincappie. Wilson, thank you very much for being here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Listen, I'm doing this just for a cup of coffee. I drove like an hour just for a cup of coffee.
I very much appreciate you being here.
I'm cheap.
Because-
I'm a cheap date.
Like you were just telling me in the kitchen, life is busy and we all have a lot going on.
A lot going on. We haven't seen each other in quite a while.
Right, but how is it that I feel like a meeting like this and a project like this, and because I've been thinking about this for a long time, like it had to be you. Like
Listen. I feel honored. You don't know, yesterday I was having nightmares that I couldn't make it here. I'm like, I have to make it here. I woke up extra early.
Yeah.
I was pumped up.
Yeah.
I've been under the weather,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like.
And I know you got a lot going on.
Yeah. But I'm like, I have to make it here. No
Because
matter
you
what.
believe, and I knew this when I called you and was like, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. Are you interested?
I had no idea I was the first one.
But you were like into it, and you were like, I felt like you were like, I've waited all this time for you to make this phone call, Christian. Because
I've been waiting.
I don't know. There was something about me when I met you. So when I met Wilson, I was 20-ish, 19, 20, working at some bagel shop in my town, and you were the roller there, right?
Right.
I don't even know if you were there when I first started, but then you just showed up one day.
Yeah, I showed up one day.
And how long did you work in Hackettstown at Hot Bagels Abroad?
I do not remember. I
Couple
have
years.
the word. Yeah, probably a couple years.
Yeah, so we were like in each other's lives. Well, those were the days, man. Like we were talking about, right here I have it, Tony Robbins, all the Tim Ferriss, Dale
Yeah.
Carnegie.
So that it was a transition period for me, right?
Tell me more. I would love to know more.
So I just came out of owning a couple bagel shops. I was burned out. My business partner got remarried, and he just wanted to sell the business. I didn't have enough credit to buy the business, so I'm like, you know what? Let's just sell it,
Okay.
and I'll take a break. Because I was just burned out. So when I left the business, one of our hangout places was Barnes and Nobles.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. I will go with my wife Giselle, and we will go to Barnes and
Oh, I
Nobles.
love that.
She will go to the kids' place with Victoria and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll just drift over on the other side, more
Sure.
to the business magazines or something like that.
Okay.
And one day we just met cross aisles, in the business section. I was trying to just look a book, and she grabbed the book.
Giselle grabbed the book.
Giselle grabbed the book, and it was Rich Dad Poor Dad. She said, I think you might like this book. She opened it up. She read a little bit of the thing, and I just got addicted.
And this was after you sold the business.
Yeah, it was
you guys
after.
were just on a date.
Yeah, we were probably
Hang
weren't
out.
a date. I don't remember exactly, but she just grabbed this book. We were married. Already because
Yeah.
I had her take a picture of me, and I think we were in an apartment.
Okay.
I have the picture like this because this was
With the book?
with the book.
Oh, you gotta send me that.
Because it was the first book, other than other books that they show more skin, that was really interesting.
That really caught your attention.
Yeah, that really exactly.
For-
you put it in
For more noble reasons.
for more reasons. So,
Okay, so you read Rich Dad Poor Dad shortly before meeting me, let's call it.
yeah, and I think that just I had like a paradigm shift. Something just
I know all
triggered.
about that, yeah.
Triggered, and it just started opening my eyes, and all of a sudden I found myself just wanting to know more, and I haven't stopped.
Wow.
I haven't stopped. I it's like a never-ending hunger.
For knowledge.
Yeah, for knowledge.
Sure.
And one of my things, the reason we know each other, because I share. I love to share.
You give back.
Yeah, I
would
give
call it
back.
giving back.
If I know, even if I'm not sure the person has potential, but especially if they have potential, I have to do
At
something.
least present them.
Present them.
Yeah.
And
that was me.
that was
stumbling
you.
upon your path.
That was you. And I just try to move people without touching them. You know, like I just want to embed this. If I can just put that little spark in there, and they just could take off.
And here I am.
And here you are.
Hosting a podcast aiming to do that exact thing. So
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
I could cry right now. So wow. That's how you got into Rich Dad Poor Dad. I didn't know it was kind of so.
It was just like random.
Yeah, like.
She was walking, and they closed that Barnes and Noble that.
Had she read the book before that?
I had no idea. I don't think so.
Interesting.
But
yeah.
she probably knew about it because I had no idea.
Okay,
I didn't
yeah.
know who Robert Kiyosaki was.
I didn't either before I met you.
And I just went down that rabbit hole into self-improvement. And then I
Cool.
think I went into business and getting to know a little bit more about how the cookie crumbles. You know, like when I say how the cookie crumbles is how real finance happens.
How the real world works.
How the real world works.
Whether that arena
How
is.
the gatekeepers just keep so much information from people by just adding these words that people don't understand. And it's because they don't understand, they're not even going to know what to look for.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know if it's unfair, but this is how it is. So you just have to know, otherwise you're going to be left behind.
Right.
You're going to be left behind, or you're just going to be playing robbed.
You'll
Rob.
be taken advantage of.
Yeah, one of the things that's happening around my world right now is I see a lot of people, including me, we're going to get to that, getting sick, right?
Okay.
And I tell everybody, well, you have until 55.
Sure.
And they're like, what does that
What do you mean
mean?
by that?
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Turns out the number one reason people go bankrupt in the United States is because of
Medical bills, right?
Medical bills,
I was
right?
just reading about that
Right.
in the book.
So, what happens when you cannot pay your medical bills?
Mhm.
They come up to your house, and then you have nothing. You wind up broke.
Wow.
So, there's no reason to have your house under your name or assets under your name,
Okay.
right? So, actually, this morning, we signed our trust
Okay.
to make sure we don't have any assets under our name.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, I signed the trust and the will too.
Gotcha.
But the trust is for the assets, right? And the
Okay.
will is for mostly if you have kids who they're gonna go with
Sure,
and stuff
sure.
like that. But the trust handles the money.
Cool.
It's not under my name. The hospital or whatever, they cannot go to the trust. The trust is just something else. It's
It's
a
an
different
entity.
entity, right?
See, that's Rich Dad Poor Dad that you.
That's Rich Dad Poor Dad, and probably they all do it. I'm not sure if he talks about trust, but
But what I mean by that is,
that's how
it
it
was
started.
that breadcrumb that led you.
Yeah.
And I just want to touch on that before we keep going. You said before how that started your self-help journey, and I just want to touch on. I'm always preaching the importance of reading, something that I myself did not get serious with until long after we went our separate ways. So if I met you in my early 20s, I didn't get serious about reading until I was like 27, 28. I would go to Barnes and Nobles my whole life. I gravitated towards it for a reason. But I think that the internet and just a plethora of distractions kind of pulled me away from it, maybe smoke screened me from the truth, which is if you don't want to get left behind, if you don't want to get taken advantage of, what you just were describing is following the breadcrumbs of, yeah, maybe it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which got me started, but it's my life. It's what piece of information do I need to ingest next, according to the lay of the land of my life now. Like, you know, you're dealing with one certain thing in regards to health right now, so maybe you're ingesting more health-focused content, more health-focused information, I would call it. So yeah, thank you for instilling that in me.
No, absolutely, and I try to do that, you know, with everybody. And by the way, you started reading a lot earlier than me, so kudos to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the other thing is that I have one friend. I kept on preaching, dude. You have a family. You have this. You need life insurance. You need life insurance, and I would tell this to my older crowd friends.
Okay, sure.
You know, you have kids, you have a house, you have a wife.
Therefore,
get life insurance now. And I had one of them come up to me. It's like, are you getting a commission for this?
are you selling it?
Are you selling the insurance? I'm like, I'm trying to help you. And it starts right now. You know, if the younger you are, the cheaper it is. So the way I see it, there's a whole bunch of life insurance. I tell everybody, this is me. I'm not telling you people what to do, but I used to have whole life insurance, which is a little bit expensive. Don't go for that.
Okay.
Just go for the term. You have kids. Once my kids reach 30 and nothing happens to me, they're on their own. They have other stuff. And the sooner you could do these things, the better. I know at the beginning it's hard. Let's say you get, right now you don't have any kids, but you could do other things. You have a Roth IRA. You know, just start with a Roth IRA. It's gonna compound. You can see how much. It depends of your risk tolerance, but yeah, let it compound. We have Roth IRAs for every kid. Cool. I mean, Keanu, he's 3. He has his Roth IRA. He doesn't have a lot of money, but it should compound.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So if you could put a little bit, nobody told me this when I was a kid. I never heard of these things. It would have been Chinese to me.
Right.
So.
And I think a lot of people deal with saying that a lot, is that nobody told me this when I was here and when I was this age. Like.
So one of the things, that since no one told me, I didn't know, and I didn't do it. So now after you don't have the excuse that nobody told you that you didn't know.
Right.
So at least you don't have that excuse anymore.
Absolutely.
Today is very easy. You heard this? Oh, what's a Roth IRA? There's a whole bunch. Go for the Roth.
Sure.
If you're a little bit more savvy, you have trust, and you can do certain things. You could do a self-directed Roth IRA. Like you could buy a building and you could do all the things, but that's self-directed.
Yeah.
But just keep it simple. You go to Fidelity or BlackRock, open one of those.
Yeah.
Simple. For the kids, it's a little bit more involved. I think we have them on Fidelity because it was easier.
My dad has worked for Fidelity.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Like, these are conversations, I mean, this is a conversation, frankly, that is absolutely piquing my interest. Like, and I'm so excited for the podcast for this reason, because I'm going to learn so much from all the people I get to meet and talk to.
Oh, absolutely.
Those are conversations I should probably have been having with my dad for over a decade. Like, and it's as simple as, hey, Dad, tell me a little bit about what you do. Like, so thank you I feel like you're inspiring that in me. And it's because it's very easy.
But no one's a prophet in their land.
I guess, but just to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that's something that everybody should be paying attention to.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that I haven't paid attention to it for 10 years, granted, I can say things like I just don't make that much money, which is true, but there's always something you could be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always somewhere to start. And that I would call that fear. Like that's somewhere where fear is showing up in my life.
I'm trying to figure this out. How do we inspire or embed the sense of investing on the kids? So what I did, I said, you're gonna earn, I think it was $100 a week or something, but at the end of the month, they had to pay rent, and they had to pay utilities,
Cool.
and they had to pay.
Yeah.
So I said, like that, and they were doing it. So I said, next month, I want you to come with one task a week. One task.
Okay.
Edit a video, make a drawing. Now Victor is doing the drawing.
Cool.
You saw it.
Some sort of creative endeavor.
Yeah, some creative endeavor, and I'll pay you.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you don't do anything, I'm not gonna pay you.
Okay.
Because you gotta earn it.
Yeah.
I want them to earn it.
You're instilling that sense of creation.
Right.
To produce rather than consume.
Right.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm a big consumer. I
Sure.
like to consume
As much as
because
anyone,
Yeah, I like my cameras and I like certain things.
Sure.
But I'm also very conscious because how are they gonna see what I do? So now I live that life.
Nice.
Hey, wait a minute, I gotta live by example, right? Leaders
Sure.
lead by example. So I try to balance things out. I'm not just gonna be a parent that doesn't get involved. I'm gonna be involved.
For sure.
Yeah, I can't, because that's how I was raised. You know, one of my first business endeavors actually was going with my grandfather. My grandfather had a truck,
Okay.
and we would go to farms. And we went to one of these farms, and they gave us a whole bunch of fruits to take home. There's no way we were gonna eat all these fruits.
Right.
And we lived like on the main street of town. We lived in a small town, but on the main street.
Is this in Ecuador?
No, this is in Colombia.
Colombia, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So this is up in the mountains in the coffee region of Colombia.
Okay, wow. Cool.
So there's lush. So you go to the farms and they have tons of fruits.
Wow.
So what he would do, he would go to the farm and he'd get the coffee and bring it to like a depot where they hold the coffee. So he was just a transport guy.
Okay.
Right? But everybody knew him, so they would just give him fruits.
Sure.
And I'm like, hey, can I sell this? You know, we live on the center of town. There's thousands of people coming by.
And you have a lot of extra. Yeah.
So they just let me, and I just put it there, and I sold the whole thing.
How old are you at this point?
Oh my
Like
god!
young? Like
I was
a
probably
kid?
8.
Yeah, that's
7.
cool. So it started for you when you were young.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, when I was in second grade, I was also selling potatoes, stuff in school. I was selling stuff in school. I didn't make a penny because that was for the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still the experience,
Yeah.
the participation.
You learn.
Doing the reps.
It's very important to get the kids, especially nowadays, that they're so addicted to the phone. I love the phone as anybody else. I love technology. But
it's a balance.
They're hypnotized.
Yeah.
So for Victoria, especially for men, for Victoria, we got her phone at 11, maybe too young. But we control
11 years old.
Yeah, 11 years old. So she had it for 4 years. Max wants a phone, and I don't think he's gonna get a phone. He has a watch.
He's 11, you said?
He's turning 11. Yeah.
Gonna be 11. Yeah, like I don't even. What's the age that you get a kid a phone these days? Because I know
the average is like
school.
Yeah, the average is like 11. Yeah,
11.
around there. Yeah, but it's not. He has a phone that has its own line. He has
Oh, he has his own line with a watch.
Yeah, with a watch.
So he can connect.
Yeah,
That's
he's
cool.
like, oh, I need the phone. Like,
Right? Do you need a phone because it
do
opens
you want the phone?
very deep door.
Yeah. So they're in disadvantage because we are pretty tech savvy.
Okay.
So you're not We encourage it. Yeah, that's.
What the entrepreneurial spirit?
Go out there and you gotta push your kids to go talk. Hey, go get me that bagel order and let them deal with it. Let them figure it out.
Why? I would like to ask you, why do you think you have that spark you mentioned before in you for entrepreneurship, or you don't know? I don't either. It seems like a curse and a gift.
It is a curse and a gift. I don't know. I don't know if people could get it later. I don't know if you're just born with it. Yeah, I don't know.
That's an interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think unfortunately a lot of entrepreneurs are gonna die being just an employee. Yeah. Because they're too afraid.
And that's I feel.
And let me tell you, that's totally valid. That's totally valid. Because the older you get, and it's been happening to me, the older you get, you have more responsibilities.
Sure.
your cost of living is a lot more expensive. You know, you have all these things, and you're carrying a lot of weight, and you're getting older, and then you're gonna take a risk. There's always a risk factor.
Right.
So I don't blame him. You gotta be a little crazy, and I tend to be a little crazy.
No, I get it.
And you gotta a new thing that I'm working on and with, and I've been doing it and I've proven it to myself. You gotta be okay with not things being perfect.
Yeah.
Because I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
You know, I like things a certain way. I fold my clothes a certain way. I
Okay.
do things a certain way. But the world is not like that.
Right.
And other people are not going to be as passionate as the owner. And not, you know, they're just your employee. They don't think like you.
Sure.
You know, I've been called out in many places. Hey, you act like an owner.
Me too.
It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
I took it. I know I was trying to be offensive, but I didn't take it offensive. I know, like
Right. Like, why is that a bad thing? Like,
yeah, but they I know the way they said. Like I was trying to ask it. I don't ask it to anybody. I'll have a fight with the owner the first day.
Sure.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
So everybody knows me. You know, wherever I go, I try to be as authentic as possible.
Sure. Be yourself. Like.
I try to be myself. Usually, when I'm working with somebody else, they hate me because I tell them truth, and they love me. That's kind of the relationship I have everywhere. Because I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You call attention to the truth, and I think that makes people uncomfortable. And damn, man, that's why we connect so much. That's why when I met you, we were like, this kid's got something, and I was like, this guy, I like what he's saying, I like what he's throwing down, I like the videos you were sending me, the books you were turning me on to. I have a few of them behind me.
The truth. First of all, I have a bad memory, and if you're gonna be a liar, you gotta have a very good memory.
Okay. So you're not equipped enough to be evil.
Enough to be a liar. So if you do something messed up, like I try.
I know what you mean.
Listen, I try to lie to. I try, but just it's like I can't.
Yeah. So when they say that you act like you're an owner, are you talking about situations where you're being perceived as, caring too much about?
Yeah, caring too much.
About the business that you don't quote unquote own. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, been there, done that. It's like, why do you not care? You don't have to. I don't know. Like, do you have to have a stake in the company? Do you have to get some of the profits in order to care that the product is whatever, the product gets served well, or the customer enjoys the experience? Like, where is that responsibility? Where does that line end? Like, I don't know.
But I think one of the things that entrepreneurs lack, and again, it's not easy, it's embedding a culture of love for what you do.
Of responsibility.
So if you go to certain places, people are happy.
Okay.
How are people happy here? And if you go to other businesses that are so similar, people are not so happy.
Yeah, and the culture is
you could just
worlds
sense
apart.
it. You could just sense it.
I'm dealing with that in my own life right now.
Yeah. That's the culture.
Right, that's the culture.
That's the culture. Yeah. I'm like, who hired you and who hired the person that hired
you? Yeah.
How does this culture happen? When you go to Chick-fil-A, same thing. You feel, hey, I've been to Chick-fil-A far away, and it feels the same thing as in,
Yeah, it's funny you say that, 'cause I do serving right now, as you know, at an Olive Garden, and I say, what do I say a lot? My pleasure. It's just something I say a lot.
Yeah.
People will thank me, and you say like Chick-fil-A, but I didn't know that because I've only been there a couple times. But my table's like, do you work at Chick-fil-A? I'm like, what? You say my pleasure a lot, and I was like, oh no, like that's kind of something I say, and so I was like, wow, they have a culture of appreciate, like true, authentic appreciation, because that's why I'm saying it, like so much so that it permeates out into the world, where these people are at a different restaurant saying like, you seem nice. Do you work at this one chicken place? Like, How much does that say about the success of that chicken place and the culture instilled there and what it feels like to go to work there? Like, that's awesome. That's how you find people who don't necessarily hate going to work.
Exactly.
Culture.
Exactly. Culture. And that's another thing I try to embed on the kids.
What?
Speak loud to get what you want.
Okay.
And you gotta nip it in the bud.
You're
gotta-
creative, you're a disruptor, and that's why
yeah.
I would say probably a lot of your bosses have maybe not been a fan of you, or I should say any
people get very nervous when I'm around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why.
Because I think that
And let me tell you, I help a lot of the bosses.
Well, you have good intentions.
I have helped them with investments, and I have helped them. They done good with me.
I just find it funny that you what did you say before? You make them uncomfortable? You make...
I don't know. I make a lot of people uncomfortable. I don't know.
I think that being yourself, like, I'm sorry for kind of stammering here, but I'm thinking it through. Like, I did not have a lot of people in my life that pushed me to be myself. Meeting you, I think, was like a huge spark in that direction. And furthermore, I think the act of being yourself, especially in a room full of people that, let's say, are not as accustomed to that even being an option, makes them uncomfortable.
Right.
Because by being yourself, I would say that you drop the ego in a sense that you say to the world, just through your body language, your actions, how genuine you are in wanting to help, you say, I've accepted who I am. I love myself so much that, I'm going to just be me in an effort to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And whoever disagrees with that, like, that's fine. We're moving on, and that makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's one thing we got to touch on, ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta tell it like it is. You are going to lose more than you win.
All right, so we're back from our little intermission, and before we left, you were talking ego. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Ego is one of the biggest enemies that men have.
Yeah.
Because people, their ego doesn't let them admit that they lost.
Right.
And if you cannot admit you lost,
or that you have room to improve.
Yeah.
Which I feel like if you want to get better at something, you have to be okay with looking silly at first. Yeah. Like I'm looking right now. I would consider myself looking silly, you as well, but that's the thing. I think we're a little bit more comfortable with accepting that, with feeling that uncomfortability.
But there's so many things that keep people from being better because of ego.
Yeah.
In many different realms. You could talk about relationships,
business,
you could talk business, you could talk about
personal development.
Any type of endeavor.
Definitely.
But you see the ego just come out. And sometimes the ego also kind of spills over into envy.
Envy, yeah.
And that just poisons people.
Well, that makes me think of the quote that comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. And like I heard that, and it sounds so simple, but I find it coming up. It's not always like comparison, like I like that person's shoes better than mine. Like it shows up in everything, and I think that like it doesn't mean that you can't be competitive. Mm-hmm. I think competition for competition's sake, to push yourself. I'm competitive with the person next to me because I want each of us to do better just for the sake of doing better, as opposed to I want to beat that guy or girl because then I, compared to them, will be better. That's ego.
Exactly. So some people think, well, the way I see it, I'm perfectly fine with showing you the way, because I already know. I'm like, Christian, down the road, there's this pothole, bear to the left, and you're going to succeed more than me. I'm going to show off on that.
Because I've been there.
Yeah, I'm going to show off on that. I don't care if you go 10 miles farther than me. I'm going to be happy. I don't care. Why I'm going to let this poison interfere with my happiness? Right?
And your willingness to give back.
I mean, my willingness to give back.
You were teaching me as a kid, I was a kid, and you were teaching me selflessly, I would call it, in an effort to educate And yeah, like you said, hey, there's a pothole in a few years. You might run into something like this. Just so you know, here's my experience. And
I have a dear friend. I this is a very dear friend. He has property. Most of it's paid off. He's doing better than most.
Sure.
Okay. He calls me once in a while, frustrated, because his neighbor is a little bit more successful than him.
Right.
His conversation the other day, so and so got the new Ferrari.
Yeah.
He gave me the keys to take it for a spin.
And he fell in love, I'm sure.
And he's like, he wants.
That's comparison is the thief of joy.
And
I think.
Hey friend, I don't want to say his name. I'm like, what is that you want? Because he's at the stage that, like me, he's going through some medical situations, and
Sure.
and you got to put life in perspective. Like, hey, you're doing okay. You don't need to go to work for you to feed your family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like I was telling him, I'm looking for freedom. Yes, I'm gonna go and do some business, but I'm not the same person anymore.
Okay.
Neither I can be physically
Sure.
or mentally. I just want freedom.
Yeah.
If we have a good car or a nice car, it's because of other situations. Like we have an okay car, but it's more for safety. It's a big car, whatever.
Sure.
I don't care if it's the Lamborghini or this or that. That doesn't appeal to me. I just want to be relaxed. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have a different. I guess my translation of success is just being more free.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
yeah. So I have a lot of people approaching me for years that they want to start a business, right?
Okay.
So they know I have a track record and bagels, and they're like, oh, we'll open a bagel shop. You don't put any money, and you run it. We know what you can do. So many years I've been saying no to these people.
Okay.
And sometimes the temptation's there. Wow, yeah, because you it's just good money.
Right. Right.
But I have to stay true to myself. And one of the things I want to do is a way. Remember, we were talking about how we keep people happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't have 100% control, I cannot offer different things to the people.
Okay.
And one of the things that I want to implement is profit sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I want to say it aloud, because once you say it, it's there. You put it up on the air.
Right.
Yeah, I've been, my wife knows and other people know, but no one of this, plethora of people, they're into that. Everybody, I understand it because I was the same way. I was, just the money. They don't care about anything. Just show me the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we wanna do a little bit better. How about we take less money and we have people happier?
Yeah.
I want people to be happy, and it's an investment. Because guess what? They're not going anywhere. They're going to be happier with you. And if they go, good for them. One of the things, even back in La Vega when I was young, I used to tell the people, listen, I'm going to teach you. Once I teach you, you could go run a place.
Yeah.
I'll be happy if you're not here.
Yeah.
The more you know, I have to pay you more. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
Sure.
But if you move up and you graduate, I'm still going to be happy.
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone coming in. But that's the kind of mentality I have.
Yeah.
And most people don't. Most people think, let me take an extra dollar,
Sure.
let me make it here, let me cut it.
Or
No,
what am I going to get in exchange?
Or what am I going to get in exchange?
Which I think you could consider the lack of that quality or the lack of that, place of thinking would qualify you as a good leader, which is one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on this show, is that everything you were just describing is just leadership capability, like the desire to mold a younger mind per se in an effort to springboard that person into a better future, a better life, a better
future.
whatever their version of being authentically them is.
Yeah.
You did that for me. I hope that we can do that for other people with this show. And
hopefully we move someone without touching them.
right.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
Damn. I would call that a pretty good place to end it. I first cannot thank you enough for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that was fun.
Thank you for having me.
It was fun. Like I said before, like it had to be you to be the first. Like I don't know that this is going to be the first episode that I post. I might do one kind of by myself.
Absolutely.
But it had to be you doing it here with me the first time.
I feel so honored.
Because like
honored.
You instilled in me that notion of just do it, even though you don't necessarily feel ready.
No.
Otherwise, that fear will keep you in the same place for forever. Like, but you were talking a lot before about gratitude and the shift in perspective. And yeah, like, I'm just very happy for you, and I'm very happy for us to come back to meet here and come back together.
Listen,
here.
I love that you're doing what you're doing.
Thanks.
I wish you lots of success.
Thanks.
And hopefully people can appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, they seem
You have tons of knowledge. I think you're ahead of all of us, even of me, because you've been putting in time.
Wait, see, I appreciate that, but it makes me uncomfortable. I'm not very good at receiving compliments. That makes me think of a quote.
Go ahead.
As the island, I don't remember who said this quote, as the island of knowledge grows, so too does the shoreline of ignorance. I'll say it again. As the island of knowledge grows, with every book that I put into this room, so too does the shoreline of the things I don't know.
Yeah, because before you didn't know what you didn't know.
Exactly, and then once you start to look for it,
you know the analogy I give people is, you know, when you were a kid and you went with your uncle, your grandpa on the car, and he drove perfectly fine, and then all of a sudden you're an adult and you find out he doesn't know how to drive. You're like, oh my god! Because now you know.
Right.
You know.
I love it.
Ignorance is sometimes could be good. Sometimes ignorance is good.
Well, that's why I say ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss, but you know, do I want to be ignorant? Oh, I can't. I wish.
I think, and I'm speaking to everyone here listening to this podcast, that the risk and the fear involved with seeking out the truth, as opposed to accepting that blissful ignorance, is worth it every single time. Even if while you're doing it, it's not very fun, this will never not be true.
So we have this is just a teaser.
This is a pretty long teaser. I'll say it.
Yeah,
it went really well for the
yeah.
first time. Like, that light has died and turned off.
I saw.
Is this light even still on?
Everything just keeps on turning off.
But that's the beauty of just starting. Like, I have been thinking about this podcast now for a few months. I've been thinking about creating content. Obviously, you've seen my Instagram for years now. I've been thinking about creating video for a decade. Like,
I want to see this everywhere. I'm going to share it and whatever. Everybody has to share it.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
And
it is currently, just so you're all aware, what is it, like October 20th or something?
Yeah.
22nd?
For Halloween.
Yeah.
It's the 22nd, yeah.
So here we are. This is the first recording for Becoming Player One. I've got my solo episode. I have the script kind of right over there. January 1st is when I want to start posting these consistently.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
it says 70 days left in the year up there. I think it's actually, it is 70. I have a website here that I refresh.
Okay, cool.
So 70 days, that's a lot of time to edit all this. And
I'll be back. We'll do episode 2.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about my journey.